The Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Real Doctor Who fans with real Doctor Who opinions.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast, a podcast dedicated to discussing Doctor Who, all news, Big Finish, and other science fiction stuff that tickles our fancy. Joining me, I am Brett, and across the pond in this podcast, we have in his man cave,
or front room, Liam. Hello.
Or front room,
both,
front
I guess.
Room, man cave. Both, yeah. We got Liam.
Hello.
All right. Well, it's been a while. I just barely recorded a podcast yesterday, uploaded it on March 29th, and it was I decided to discuss the question of, do Doctor Who fans want the show canceled?
Yeah, interesting question. I mean, I've been talking to Legion about things, and I think he again, and I think like me, is kind of the opinion that maybe a rest is in order for a little bit.
Whoa, you guys have come to my side now. Holy cow! Wow.
It's not that Shooty's bad, or that the actors that they've got are bad. It's just the direction of the show. I mean,
I agree.
I think the problem is that they're running with. I hate to say it. They're running with the Chibnall storylines, and I think Russell's kind of writing himself into a bit of a corner. In regards, sure, the bi-regeneration thing was an interesting one-off, but if the sources that I have heard on the grapevine are true, I will continue to watch Doctor Who, but I don't know if I like what is alleged to be happening.
Well, and you do have some teasers, and we'll tease that for a little bit later in the podcast. But here's my rationale for why I think the show probably needs a rest. And my rationale for that is as follows. Like you said, the Chibnall era, very controversial. And with Russell not wanting to, Chibnall basically kind of did like a throw my fit type of a situation. Well, obviously they'll just kind of, plow over that or, retcon my era or whatnot. And then RTD was just like, well, no, like he's my friend. And it's just like, okay, but you're directing and running a show. And if you feel as though for the betterment of the show, things need to be changed and retconned or whatnot, feelings should not be hurt. You're making a show for an amorphous company that at the end of the day kind of really doesn't care about you. All they care about is the bottom line, aka money.
Money, the brand. Branding. Brand
well, and that's an interesting thing that you bring that up, because there was a controversial thing that popped up, I think early last week or something like that, where it was hinted that the BBC was going to cancel Doctor Who, or because of an article that the Radio Times, I think, wrote. I cannot recall exactly what it was, but here's the interesting thing.
I don't know.
Here's the interesting thing. So the BBC started running damage control for everything, saying, well, we're not canceling the show. And I think the key word is in what was being said is, yes, they probably aren't going to cancel it. However, did they say that they weren't going to pause it for a while? Did they not say, canceling basically means what we're used to from 1989 after season 26 is it got canceled right there.
Yeah.
And then, just with just one second. Just with corporations, you could also say, well, of course, the BBC is going to continue to do comics. They're going to continue to, have Big Finish do their plays. They're going to do books or whatnot. Whereas when they canceled it in 1989, the idea of doing new stories, it took the Virgin novelization to actually start occurring. And then when the BBC realized that they weren't making money off of their own brand, they decided to pull back on that whole thing. So,
well, I mean, it was 5 years between the cancellation of Doctor Who and any kind of merchandise? Because, sure, the first Target novelizations came out in the
70s.
70s. But there wasn't very many, obviously, because they didn't know if it would sell. And then there was nothing, and then until, I think, the 90s.
Yeah, I want to say 94, right?
Yeah, I want to say around about 93, 94. So, yeah, I think what they might be doing is setting up for a hiatus. Should I go into the reasons behind that?
Go ahead.
So I'm not going to name my source, but I was talking to a friend, and he was talking to a friend who knows somebody who is dubbing the new season of Doctor Who for overseas. So he's been given the scripts.
Oh.
Now, he's been given the script for all the episodes bar the end of episode 8 at this point. This was about a month ago now.
Wow.
So the last 10 minutes of episode 8 he hasn't got.
And
which if you look at previous, when that happens and when that occurs, you know that that's going to be a regeneration story.
And the tease, the news that has been out, I know your guy Theories, I believe, has reported on it a couple times, and I've seen some other Doctor Who YouTubers or whatnot report on it. But the tease is that season 2 did not end with a regeneration, but they got Ncuti back in to record a regeneration. So there's, I believe, from my understanding, there's 2 alternate endings to either a season 3 or a regeneration to a blank screen, aka Jodie.
Yeah, because the thing is, as of yet, there's been no confirmation on a Christmas episode, right? Only the 26 episodes, and that takes us up to the 26th episode was the 360th special, was the Christmas special, Church on Ruby Road, and then season 1, season 2. There's been no confirmation or nothing on a Christmas episode 1 being confirmed, or 2 being confirmed to air this Christmas. So and this source, hasn't obviously got the end of the final episode, so potentially there's the chance of a regeneration, which, you are potentially right. It could be a start of a regeneration, and we don't see, the end of the regeneration, leaving a potential gap for hiatus, and then for the, a new Doctor to come in. And 2, this spoiler or this source also breaks down who Mrs. Flood is.
Well,
allegedly.
So just out of curiosity, so because I saw on Google before we met up, that they're teasing, and I'd love to, if I'm fine if you spoil it for me. If you don't know, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the speculation. The speculation is, because Mrs. Flood has broken the fourth wall multiple times, that there, and possibly because of what happened with the Celestial Toymaker, she actually comes from the land of fiction, or she knows that she is in a fictitious show, aka the Mind Robber.
Ooh, haven't heard that one. That's an interesting theory, which I quite like. No, apparently, according to the source, Mrs. Flood is apparently, now this is where it gets a bit meh, and I don't like this if this is true. If this is true, I'm not sure what to think, but allegedly Mrs. Flood is the Rani. However, she is a bi-regenerated Rani. Now, I understand the reason for Russell doing the whole bi-regeneration thing, right? Once. But he apparently, the rumor is again, is going to include and canonize that all the Doctors previous to Gatwa have now bi-generated from him back down his timeline. So in, one version, the Fifth Doctor wakes up on Androzani,
ditched,
minor, and gets back into his TARDIS and just flies off, doesn't regenerate into the Sixth Doctor, etc., etc., which poses a whole load of head canon kind of mindfuck, clusterfuck things of, how that's going to work. Because, so take it then, if all Doctors are now going to bi-regenerate, right? So Ncuti regenerates into the next Doctor, right?
Yes.
However, he also doesn't, meaning that they can bring him back whenever. So what happens to the Ncuti that doesn't?
See, and that was always my problem with the bi-regeneration is it sounded like my belief is, and I mentioned this on episode 368 of the podcast, is that basically we get a bi-regeneration because the Celestial Toymaker is there, and because the 14th Doctor's there, it happened, and they bi-regenerated. Because the TARDIS is there, it bi-regenerated. And I'm fine with it, kind of.
Well, no, it actually says that the reason that the bi-regeneration happened was because of just the Toymaker, nothing else.
Well, yeah.
So
again,
and
that again, but just one second. Here's the reason why I really struggle with this whole thing is because if you have because of the Toymaker, like they were there present, for it to go down the line in reverse order, I don't think makes sense. I feel as though they did it kind of to do the memory TARDIS type of situation, which, again, if you'd like to do canon and continuity, but you know what, this is not available for people in anybody outside of the UK to view it, how can you expect canon and continuity to exist for me, besides piracy?
I mean, and that is a ridiculous thing. And like I watched a video about Doctor Who in Australia, right? They have lost basically all the right, so you can watch Doctor Who in Australia, but you have to subscribe to 4 or 5 different streaming services just to be able to watch it all.
Well,
and they're like, look, who, no one's going to do this because it costs way too much, right? And the guy was like, look, we don't want to pirate this in a Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to watch it, we're going to have to pirate it because we literally have no other way of watching it. Unless you buy the physical media, which again, even if you buy the physical media for Australia, takes longer to arrive anyway because of, complete opposite side of the world, etc., etc., etc. Apparently, there's no marketing over in Australia for Doctor Who anymore. The only thing that's keeping Doctor Who alive in Australia at the minute are the fans.
Wow.
So, for Australia, Doctor Who isn't getting any new
viewership,
not viewership, but exposure. So, how do they expect, Doctor Who as a brand to be global? Technically, it's not, because there's no exposure, there's no marketing really, and the way they've got things at the minute, unless Disney get the rights to the classics series, which again, if they could, that would be awesome, because I think then that would open up Doctor Who truly to the market.
Yeah.
Which I think they should start to negotiate.
Well, it all depends on if Disney continues on with Doctor Who, though.
True, but even if they don't, right? I think Disney should go, look, okay, Doctor Who's a global brand. We want, we want our input of Disney Doctor Who to be successful. So I think it would be nice if the Disney started to give some money to the BBC, just for streaming purposes, for them to be able to stream classic series and the bits that were or are unavailable outside of the UK, such as Tales of the TARDIS. And then, you've got then people like in Australia and in New Zealand or whatever who then can access Doctor Who like that. And then, that's truly global then at that point. Because for UK viewers, we've got it on the iPlayer, so it would make sense for there to be one service that has everything to stream for outside of the UK.
I don't think that will ever happen. I think you're going to, at least outside of the UK, you're going to have to at least have two services for it. And here's the reason why. Because currently, you can, on Pluto TV and Tubi, which even though they're free streamers, there are commercial advertisements being done through it. So the BBC is making money on their classic Doctor Who channel on Tubi and Pluto TV. They also have the app, the BritBox app, which all of the classic series, save like 3 of them, are available on there. However, you have HBO Max, who has all the series up to all the way to the Flux and ending right there. Now you have Disney. Just 1 second. Then you have Disney that has the specials and now season 1 and season 2 of the Ncuti Gatwa series. So you have at least 3 streaming services that you have that on. I think most likely, unless I don't think the BBC is ever going to allow the new series of Doctor Who to go streaming for on Tubi or whatnot. I think they'd probably put it maybe on BritBox, but then with that, I think they would probably be needing to recoup some of the cost and so add, up the price to that. But currently, that's where it is, at least over here in America. We have 3 streaming services that is required for you to get all of them.
I thought BritBox, I thought America had lost a license and BritBox had lost a license to the classic series.
It could have. I have not been on the BritBox for a while. Also, FYI, the BBC has a Doctor Who channel on YouTube that everybody outside of the UK can watch and stream commercial free if you have YouTube Premium, which I do, or it is...
And also, just to clarify as well, even though, say on Tubi or on Pluto TV, the BBC would not get revenue from those adverts for the one
really?
simple reason, because the BBC do not have adverts on their channels. They wouldn't get revenue from those adverts because that's the point of the license fee over here, at least. And I don't know if BBC America has adverts over there.
Yes, BBC America has advertisements. Every channel now has advertisement. It used to be Disney Plus did not have it, HBO Max did not have it, Netflix did not have it, and now you have to pay an extra fee to not have, commercials in all of your shows on all the streaming services. So I do think that the BBC is earning, just because I think that is what is allowable to be viewed by the British public over in England. Does not mean if there's adverts over there that they're not receiving revenue, because that would be the BBC is just gifting Pluto TV and Tubi Doctor Who for nothing, and Tubi making money off of that.
Unless Tubi and Pluto TV pay the BBC and then they get the revenue from those adverts.
Possibly. I
don't. Like I say, I don't know if.
But they'd also be making money off of the YouTube channel for Doctor Who as well too. So unless they're just giving all of their, because they're willingly uploading these omnibus episodes to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, like I say, I don't know the ins and outs of BBC wide and how that works, and the rights in regards adverts and stuff in comparison, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the potential spoilers for season 2?
Well, let's see.
And there's also rumors as well that Omega's potentially in the series as well, apparently.
Oh my word.
So I don't know, but what are your thoughts on those potential quote unquote revelations?
So here's what I want to say. So I just saw on the news on DoctorWhoNews.net the title release for all of these.
That came about a week ago. Yeah,
I know, but I just barely saw it for the first time just today. So neener. And then I also, discussing these title releases or whatnot, I also have a question that I'd like to throw back to you. So according to DoctorWhoNews.net, the BBC has revealed the titles for these episodes, these upcoming series for Doctor Who, the 41st since the series launched in 1963 on the 12th of April 2025. Simultaneous global launch kickstarts with the Robot Revolution at 8 a.m. exclusively on the BBC iPlayer and later that day on BBC One. And then those can watch it on Disney Plus outside of that. So we have the Robot Revolution, written by Russell T Davies. Episode 2, Lux, written by Russell T Davies and directed by, I'm just going to skip the directors. Number 3, The Well, written by RTD and Sharma Angel-Waffle, who, again, I did a previous podcast discussing my kind of fear for some of these new writers, but I'm glad that it is in conjunction with RTD with that one, because I did not see that she actually had much of any experience. And you know me with that. So, episode 4 is Lucky Day, written by Pete McTeague, who has given me Kerblam, which I enjoyed, and he did another one which I can't remember what it was, but I didn't enjoy it as much.
Praxeus.
Then yeah. What was that?
Praxeus.
Oh, Praxeus. He did. Whoa. Oh, got a nice, fun story and All right. Well, so far, Pete McTeague is shooting 500. Let's see if he can either shoot 600 or 300. But and then episode 5 is The Story and the Engine, written by Inua Ellams, which that's the one that I have the most dread over. And the main reason why I say that is Inua Ellams, his only experience is, I believe, poetry.
Well, to be fair to him, he grew up watching the classic series in Nigeria.
Okay.
So, he at least knows the show. So I'm...
Well, I mean, Chibnall knew the show too.
And I'm going to be interested to see what he actually brings, because if it delves into... Well, it is delving into African folklore and mythology, which is going to be very interesting. We're going to have
that's fine.
Anansi, who is the spider trickster god, and I believe Gatwa mentioned that he would love to go up against the what are they called? Oh, they're the Yoruba deities. They've got a name. I can't remember what they are, but
okay.
So that's kind of interesting that we're getting some diversity in regards mythology and different parts of the world that we've never we've never seen. So I'm actually quite looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a hopeful that it's good. I'm not holding my breath. If you don't really have much of a CV and poetry is on it, just kind of concerned. But anyway, episode 6, the Interstellar Song Contest, which will probably be a musical.
Well, it's basically Eurovision, isn't it? So, which it's going to be interesting to see how much of a parallel to Bang Bang a Boom that's going to be. I quite like Bang Bang a Boom, so it's
interesting. Didn't think you'd like that one.
Well, no, because there wasn't actually technically any music in that one.
I know, it was fantastic.
So, Bang Bang a Boom was quite a good story.
Okay, and that one's written by Juno Dawson, who does have some writing background for Doctor Who, who did the podcast Doctor Who Redacted, which I've never listened to because I'm just...
And she's also written novels as well. Not in Doctor Who, but she's written novels. Can't speak for her novels, but yeah.
And then you have the last two, which I'm going to guess is a two-parter. We have the Wish World, which again, this Wish World and episode 8, the Reality War, kind of like almost hints too closely at the Mind Robber.
Yes and no. Or you could say that Mrs. Flood could potentially be a god of wishes, or like a
that is true,
a genie type deity, perhaps. So we'll see.
But regarding those, it's going to be quite interesting to see what is actually going to happen with this one, how the whole series is going to end up in the Reality War, what goes on forward. And then I'm going to be curious if there's going to be any connection to the war against the land and the sea throughout this season, because that comes out this summer too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
So it'll be kind of interesting to see about that one. I'm just going to sit and I'm just going to watch it. I'm going to hope. And here's the one thing that I saw on a couple of people's remarks regarding their concern for season 2 is the constant, well, you can't already fear that it's not going to be good because some of the first season of RTD Part 2 wasn't very good, at which point some people said it was filmed back to back. So any mistake, kind of like with Moffat, when he rolled out the Skittles Daleks, it is strongly believed that there was so much backlash for that he had no choice but to near wipe them from existence.
And that was a shame, because I thought they had a lot of potential, and I'm glad Big Finish picked them up.
But at the same but at the same time, you had Chris Chibnall, who was getting not good feedback, and he decided to double down.
Yeah, but apparently
and so
he didn't look at feedback. So
well, he didn't look at feedback unless he wanted to taunt the fans, just saying, "Oh, you think I'm going to bend to you? Yeah, take that." And it was just like, but I thought you didn't check the feedback. Well, when I use that comment when it, fits. And currently it's not fitting. But so I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how this all rolls out. It's going to be interesting because, again, like I told you one of the last times we did the podcast together, how Disney Plus had to manipulate calling the specials a movie in order to get it into the top 10 most streamed over Christmas. And to me, that's concerning because it's just like, well, yeah, look at that. Most top in number 6 in the most streamed movies. Well, first off, it's an hour. Second off, it's not really a movie. So
I don't know, but I mean,
I don't know. It's kind of a sticky situation for that I see personally, but I'm not going to, totally shake a fist at the whole situation. I just think it's going to be quite interesting to see what the future of Doctor Who brings. Again, go back and, because there is a sentiment, why do Doctor Who fans hate Doctor Who, or why do Doctor Who fans want the show to be canceled? And I can equivocally believe the fans don't want the show to be canceled. They want it to be retooled. And in order to be retooled, I'd like to bounce this off you, because my belief was that once Disney took over, the 14th Doctor had all of the pain and hardship that he was going to have to deal with, because kind of that canon and continuity did not exist on Disney Plus. Therefore, we kind of need a fresh start. So Ncuti's Doctor was going to have, breathe life into the character. He's not pulled down by some of the things that occurred. Oh, wait. Then in the most recent Christmas special, his future self tells his past self, this is why nobody likes you. This is why you're all alone. This is why you're kind of mopey or whatnot. And it was like, but I thought you rose above this. I thought this was for the 14th Doctor to kind of like mull through. I thought we were going to have a fresh start. I thought this was kind of a light reboot. And so the concern for me is I don't want this show to reboot, because then we're going to go all the way back to the first Doctor era. I would like the show to be retooled and to get some of the cluster stuff that Chibnall did, that RTD kind of doubled down in and kind of overstretched with his bi-regeneration. I think that needs to be retooled and taken a look at, and then move forward.
Thing is how do you do that though? That's the question.
Sounds like somebody who's going to pay a lot more money than I do to solve that problem.
Yeah. Have you seen I didn't see this. I saw this on Reddit, but it's quite funny. There's actually a skit of Matt Berry playing the alter ego Stephen Toast as the Doctor, and it's quite funny.
Oh, I should check that out. Yeah.
Yeah. What else was I going to say? Other news.
Well, for Big Finish, we do have the Big Finish award nominees for 2025.
Oh,
we have this is what I was trying to figure out, because Big Finish put all of their 11th Doctor bundles on sale, but it just says the BBC Audio Award, Best Podcast Audio Drama, which podcast audio drama goes to the 11th Doctor Chronicles. It doesn't.
Hang on. How is that even a
Yeah.
podcast? They've not even released it as a podcast on their free
I know.
podcast thing, have they?
No, not that I've seen. I did some looking into that, and I did not see
that's
that.
Not a podcast. It's not available anywhere apart from if you buy it direct from Big Finish, and technically it's an audio drama. So how is that a podcast?
Well, and the interesting thing about that is I was trying to find the link to it, because usually it's in the news items. It is a link and it describes which audio won. It's not the whole bundle set, but there's not even a news link in there. The only thing I found it on was the Big Finish slider to nominate, to announce that the award nominations are out for 2025, and there is a sale on the 11th Doctor Chronicles.
Well, I totally missed that.
You have
I just don't look at the slider.
Yeah. Well, and that's the only thing that I look at generally.
Right.
After I do look at the news, but they've been pinning a lot of their most their favorite news to the top, which makes me I don't often scroll down often. So it's interesting. And then the Best Audio Fiction Award, the BSFA Award for Best Audio Fiction, goes to the Doctor Who Sixth Doctor Adventure, The Quinn Dilemma, and Torchwood, The Hollow Choir.
I've listened to The Hollow Choir and Quinn Dilemma. Not bad, but I wouldn't have said it was the best audio.
Interesting. I have not listened to the Quinn Dilemma, but I do need to. It is on my. I just barely listened to the other day. I'd love to get your thoughts on it, because I'm pretty sure you listened to it. I was getting my car's oil changed, and I was listening to. Let me just double check what the title is. The Torchwood Inseparable.
I haven't listened to it yet.
I will tell you.
Any good?
Tracy Ann Oberman's voice has kind of gone down an octave or so. I couldn't tell. They kept on referencing Yvonne, but I was waiting for some sort of person replacement that was going through as her. And yeah, at least at time of recording, her voice is kind of an octave lower than it was, and she just didn't sound like Yvonne. And I found that really distracting for the most part.
I'll have a listen to what I think, but I mean, I heard the trailer, and she sounded fine in that to me. But
well, to me, she sounded really, yeah. Anyway, we were going to talk about Big Finish news. So we have. I was scrolling through what was available, what's going on. And yeah, just out of curiosity, have you listened to the Year of the Zygon, or whatever it's called? I can't think of
Zygon Century.
Actually, Zygon Century.
No.
Have you listened to that?
Not yet.
I listened to the first episode, and I kind of lost interest in listening to the other two.
Okay.
And so with the Torchwood Zygon Battle Royale, which is called Rictus.
Apparently, you can listen to it standalone. It doesn't. It ties in, but you don't need to have listened to Zygon Century to understand what's going on with that story. It just adds extra meaning if you listen to the box set. Apparently. Okay.
All right. Well, because I've been on the fence for that, and I will go back because it's nowhere near as bad as the Helm of Awe.
You love that though.
No, the Helm of Awe is not good. No, don't. It is not that one. The Helm of Awe sucks. Let's see. What I'm just gonna go Philip, because I forgot what it's called. Hinchcliffe. Let's see. All right, let me just double check here.
There's one that
Philip
you love. I'm just
Hinchcliffe.
oh my god, this is complete
No, the Helm of Awe sucks, man. I'm talking about the Is it the Helm of Awe? Which one is it? We got the first one, The Lost Stories, The Devil's Armada, The Genesis Chamber. That one sucks. The God of Phantoms. That's the one.
That's the one you absolutely dream over.
That-
I'm just like,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that one sucks so bad it's fantastic. Oh, look, somebody they have people who have reviewed that one. Let's see what they think. Indie Mac User says for The God of Phantoms, while the story is full of Hinchcliffe's charm, it would be remiss of me to neglect the talents of Mark Platt, who took the outline and made it functional.
I'm
okay.
surprised that Big Finish allowed that on their website.
Reworking several sections that which would have most likely worked on television but couldn't on audio. Ken Bentley's sublime direction also adds to an excellent release, mixing the best of the range together. And then warped factor, they have a ... So, there's a whole bunch of stuff missing from their review. Then it says there is a lot, all capitals, of good work here. I bet you they previously were dumping on it, but there's a lot of good work here. The world feels real, the history is layered and well, and it provides a good opportunity for Leela to assess what the Doctor has taught her.
That's one way.
That is done by Warp Factor. I'm going to go with no on both of those, but it is fun because it is so bad. No, the Helm of Awe is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how dare you? Oh, what was I going to ask? I was going to ask another thing. Oh, yeah. So to go over, there was I didn't see this, and I don't think I'm going to pick it up.
There's also another news thing as well, if you've seen.
Yeah.
It's
what's the news?
It's another box set, and it's Sarah and Harry are reunited in the 80s. It's called Sullivan and Smith. And they've got Annette Badland playing Sarah's Aunt Lavinia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not bad. I'm going to wait until it comes out.
What?
Interestingly...
You're going to wait to come out before you buy it?
No. I've bought it. I mean, but...
Oh, okay.
I mean...
Sorry, I forgot who I was talking to.
It sounds okay, from the premise, but... I preferred Sarah with, more Fourth Doctor. Hopefully we've got that coming. What else was I going to say?
Do you think this is setting up the Sarah Jane, that one pilot episode spinoff that I believe is in? Yeah, K9 and Company.
Maybe, potentially. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it might do. It would be kind of cool if it is. I would like them to do the conclusion to the Sarah Jane Smith stuff.
Mm-hmm.
However, it might be difficult because Sadie Miller played Natalie as well in that thing. So I don't know. That will be good. In regards to the new series of Doctor Who, it's going to be at least a couple of days before I watch it, probably, because on the 12th, when it comes out, I will be at a convention seeing Tom Baker. So, yeah. Which I didn't expect to go to. I just put my name in the hat, not expecting anything. And, yeah, I'm going to see Tom Baker with 49 other people. So it's going to be a very, very, very small convention.
Way to go.
So, So I will try and get some audio or, if I can.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What else is there? Yeah, I'd love to get some audio from that. Yes. One of the best doctors of all time, and you get to, not that I'm jealous whatsoever. I wish you nothing but the best, and don't hold any grudges. So yeah. A question for you.
Mm.
So, have you been listening to any of the Dark Gallifrey series at all?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the first and second? Because I have not listened to a single thing. And the reason why I ask this is because at the very beginning of 2025, maybe pre-2024 or post, or just before 2024 ended, Big Finish teased on Twitter that basically is like, guess how many Master things are coming out. Or I can't remember if it's guess how many Master or guess how many Missy things are coming out. And so far it looks like there has been a lot of Master stuff / Missy stuff, but I am intrigued that one of the big cover reveals for the Dark Gallifrey Missy was having the Seventh Doctor make an appearance. And I like the Dark... I kind of like the premise of the Dark Gallifrey series, kind of, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it because I'm kind of on the fence with picking it up. But what are your thoughts? Because the way I've been reading some people's reviews of it is it's basically focusing more or less on the villains of Gallifrey and Time Lords and whatnot.
At the minute, yeah. But it's hard to say what the direction is because we don't really know still what Dark Gallifrey... Well, we know what Dark Gallifrey is, but we don't really know what the overall plan is for it yet. So it's hard to say where it's going to go, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Just at the minute, it's just the villain so far. So it's Morbius, the War Master, Missy. We know the monk's going to appear. We know the We know the meddling nun is going to appear. And that's it so far. So it's.
Are you excited for one of the 11 to appear? That's happening.
Oh God. No. Not particularly.
Oh, okay.
What else? Villains. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say. I am annoyed though that Big Finish have pushed back bloody Gallifrey War Room 3 and 4 again. It's the release dates have changed for that now, so I don't know when they're coming out now, but it's really annoying. I know that they've pushed it back, so grr. But anyway.
Yeah, let's see. Let me see when it is supposed to come out now. So War Room 3 currently is slotted... Whoa! Yeah, they have. May 2026.
Dude. What about 4? When's 4 coming out now?
Let's see. 4 is coming out January 2027.
What? Oh, come on. Ye gods.
Oh, my word.
I
am so glad I'm so glad I picked up this series. I'm so glad I picked up this series and refused to listen to it. I'm so glad that I can binge this whole thing because, with this thing constantly being pushed back or whatnot, I'm not going to be stuck in a situation where I have to wait out this whole
thing is
Gallifrey thing. Yeah.
They're really good. That's the problem. Like, really good.
I know. And if I wanted to, I'd say, would you please spoil it for me? But because I don't want you to, because Gallifrey is such a high quality thing, it makes me wonder if they've had to retool stuff with Dark Gallifrey, if there's going to be any connection to that, or if I'm also curious if they're waiting out, either Bad Wolf or whatnot, or they're waiting out the future direction because, again, according to some information, that the RTD is looking for his replacement. So,
I mean, that's good, and it doesn't have to be immediately either.
No. You have been listening to the Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Doctor Who is owned and trademarked by the BBC. Doctor Who Alhambra is not affiliated with the BBC or Big Finish. No infringement is intended. Visit our website at alhambrapodcast.weebly.com or email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Tweet us at Alhambra Podcast. That is ALHAMBRA Podcast. Thank you.